radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Well, good evening. How you doing? Fade to Black. That's right. Today is Thursday, March 26th, 2026. I did mouth exercises just to get that date out, man. March 26th. 6th. Oh man, somebody help me, please. Please help me. Let's do this, man. Man, Tyler and I just spent 30 minutes talking about the movie Hot Rod. Just threw me off my game. I need to be serious. I need to be professional tonight. Oh, man. This week on Fade to Black, another great week. Monday night was me. That's right. Talking about the history of us. And tonight with Tyler, of course, it'll be a little bit of an extension on that. Very excited about the show tonight. But that was Monday night, a solo performance by yours truly. Tuesday night, we had Kim DeRosier with us, Precognition and PK. We bent spoons live on the air, amongst other things. It was a fantastic show. And then last night, another amazing show last night with John and EJ Craig, talking about their work with proactive disclosure. And I have to tell you, they have put so much time and effort into what they are doing, and it really shows. Very, very smart. It was very smart couple, but it was a great show last night. But tonight, Tyler Engel is with us. That's right. I'm going to say it, Tyler. BassForge. BassForge on Fade to Black tonight. I'm very excited about this, and I just came off of hanging out with Tyler in Boulder, for Beyond Belief. But I have been following his stuff for a minute now, and I was so excited to be able to not only sit down with him for Beyond Belief, but we got to hang out, and we went to some dive Mexican restaurant for a few hours and just had the best time. And we knew that this show was going to happen here on Fade to Black. And then with Danyan having to bow out, it was just like, now it's time. Instead of waiting for a couple of months because we're booked out so far in advance. And he was like, dude, let's do this. So here we are tonight. It's going to be great. Tyler Engel is with us. My next event is the Contact Modalities Expo, and that is coming up in 4 very short weeks, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026 in Delavan, Wisconsin. And the links for that are very simple. They're below and throughout social media and stuff, but it's Contact Modalities Expo. That's XPO, contactmodalitiesexpo.com. And we'll see you out there in the heart of the Midwest, right there at the Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin. It's going to be fantastic. So I'll see everybody out there. With that, for some reason, I'm giving viewing television and movie tips lately, like Scarpetta, man. Oh, it was bad. Check out One Piece. The second season is out. The first season was excellent. The second season of One Piece tracks. It's just a well-written script and storyline from front to back. Check out One Piece. You'll enjoy it. All right. Let's get things started. Tonight, Tyler Engel is with us. We're going to be talking about his research into ancient history and technology, that and much more. It's going to be another just free-form conversation tonight. He's a creator, he's a researcher, but he's also a musician, so we may tap into some of that tonight. He's the founder of BassForge and the author of Cryptex Esoterica, where he examines how geometry, pattern, and myth function as a lost operating system for reality is the way things are, and he's not far off the mark. Let's just get straight to it. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Tyler Engle. He's right there. What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
dude.
This was so last minute, but right when you texted me, I told my girlfriend Lily, I was like, Jimmy, just hit me up. We're having dinner. I was like, dang, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait that long. So this is fate, man.
Yeah, it's so cool. I just thank you for that. Now, before we get started, you get the first time guest disclaimer. You knew this was coming. So let's get that out of the way. Tyler, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, it ends. But we're going to end as friends. Well, man, we're already friends. But we will continue to be friends. How's that?
Beautiful.
You have to accept.
Amazing.
So I kind of want to start here. And then we'll go backwards, I promise. But we're sitting at dinner, everybody. This is just in the interest of transparency. And Tyler says to me, he goes, you know, man, today, because we had just come off the set, right? We're fresh off of taping, and now we're at dinner, and you go, you know, that was a lot of fun today. But if I do fade to black, can we just talk? Remember that? I just want, Jimmy, I just want to sit down with you and just, I said, absolutely. So here we go, man.
Yeah,
we're going to do that tonight.
This is great.
I've been following your stuff for a while. How fun is it? Is it your bliss to look at engineering in deep history and try to figure stuff out?
You know, I was thinking about that today because I was like frustrated. I was trying to figure out what to make today on a video, and I was just frustrated. And I was like, why am I feeling so frustrated? And it's because I haven't got to like sit down and lock myself in a room and do exactly that. Because like when I do that, I do like these 4 or 5 hour sprints where I'll just like, I'll look at stuff and I'll have 2 windows open, and I'll have one with like ancient stuff and I'll have one with my engineering stuff. And I'll just be like, what does this look? What does this do? Like just doing comparisons to spark creativity, you know? And when I don't get to do that, it like bottles up in me, and I hate it. But that and like putting it all together is like I don't know, the best way I can describe it is like a drug, almost like epiphany. When it hits, I'm addicted to that stuff, and I haven't got a hit in a while, and I need it, you know? Right.
This is how I approach it. And I'm wondering, because I've seen enough of your stuff now, how you connect your brain to your mouth. In that, hear me out, because it's hard to do, right?
Yeah.
Is it that if I have notes, my notes are single words, right? Just, you know, and it could be anything. Lever. Okay. I can spend an hour on lever, but I need to be reminded that I need to get to said lever, right? Do you operate the same way?
So I have a general framework, and the framework is how I structure the video itself. And if it fits within that framework, then it just works. And it's the same way. I have like basically 6 sections of the video, and it's like, you know, your hook, and then your why is this important? Then I describe it, very general stuff. And then I'll have 1-2 words, but if I have the thing I do a little differently is I'll have these things and I'll say them out loud, and I'll be like, ooh, that sounded good. So if I said it, or if I've said it to someone before and they were like, that was a banger, I'll put the whole sentence in there. But that's as far as like my detail goes.
Yeah, I operate the same way, in that if I have to read something, or if I've got to be I can tell I'm reading.
Yeah.
Right. So the audience can, the audience can too.
Yeah.
I have a certain way of speaking. And if somebody writes something out for me, I very rarely can get through it. It has to be rewritten.
Yeah.
I don't use big word. I don't have I don't have those things. I can't. It's really funny. And if I just have a destination, a target word,
Yeah.
then the flow is good, and I'm happy with that.
That's like music. I'll start with like an instrument, but I have no idea like what the drum groove is going to be. I have no idea what the melody is going to be. I just know this instrument sounds really cool, and I'm just going to play some stuff and then just like go from there. That's the same with the videos. I don't really like plan them out too far in advance. I usually do them same day, but it's like that. I have something like I want to talk about this thing. I'm going to see where the riff goes. I'm going to see what I can connect to it and how I can make this the most interesting thing I possibly can. It's like a creative flexing of the muscle, like just getting the reps in.
What's your okay? I have probably 3 or 4 like favorite thoughts, right, that I can tap into, whatever it may be, right? Okay, so time travel, this umbrella or whatever it is, Egypt, this umbrella. But I can kind of narrow things down on the inside of that. If there's one thing that gets you floated, what is that thing?
Esoteric history by far, easily. Like
no, that's broad. That's a
it
huge
is broad.
Stroke of the pen.
It is broad. Let me narrow it down here. Like,
right.
Yeah, like the mainstream stuff, like mainstream history. I kind of like it, that was so uninteresting to me for the longest time. I barely paid attention in high school. Like it was just not in it for me. But then I learned how to read in like symbolism almost. The esoteric history I'm talking about isn't like a book that you read. It's just like, it's a random mark carved on a wall that you saw in Egypt. That, and I'm like, what is that? I've seen this before. I need to look into this. So pulling those little threads has been like that's like in my head. I imagine it like a little, like a collector's room in my brain of these little threads that I've pulled, and I've got these things on the shelf and I'm like, oh, I found that. I figured that out, and I just want to fill that room up as much as I can. That's like that's my pull to it.
When you go through and read about history and you're into and you need that for context, I understand that, but then you start listening and researching the esoteric and going off the going off the road, and then you find yourself noticing that a lot of these researchers, and they're great, right, but they're also repeating some of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself going, you know what? No. even with the, what I'm talking about, the researchers that are looking for different answers to things, where you go, you know what? No.
Yeah.
And developing your own ideas inside of this very complex thing. Do you find yourself doing that?
I have and I'm sure you probably encountered this in like Egypt and stuff as well. Is like whenever you're here and you learn about this stuff, they always tell you it's a fertility, it's a ritual object. They're just like the biggest, most general words ever. And I'm like, what does that mean though? And then you go travel to these places and then you talk to the people and you learn what they're actually used for. And maybe it's not like ritual is a broad term. Maybe it was like they did this specific order of, walking through a temple or doing this. And then that's where the secret is like, okay, why did they do it in that order? What exactly were they doing? Were they reading? Were they speaking? Were they meditating? Were they praying? What was what were they actually doing at this time? Were there other things involved? Was it like a psychedelic thing? Was it something in the broad spectrum of ritual? There's a whole bunch of things it could be. And I want to know the little things. That's what it really is for me. And that's what I explored. So they'll tell me when I went, I had a really good guide, Mohammed Ibrahim, and he was, pretty on the same page as we are. So I was like free to talk openly about most things, but I would also encounter the people there and talk to them, like the more mainstream ones. And they were doing the same thing. They were repeating like the stuff that I'd heard in high school. And I'm like, cool, but like, why is it's not as interesting as what he's telling me right now? So I try and translate that into content too, because like, it was such a cool feeling for me to learn all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's real.
When one of the things that I noticed, excuse me, in Egypt, but this has gone on in other countries too as well. The governments are very protective about how their history and culture is represented, especially to tourists. But so I'm in Egypt, and I was at a temple site. That part doesn't matter. I'm just at a temple site. And I see another tour group, and they've got an Egyptian government guide. Okay. Not a Muhammad Ibrahim, who's my dear friend, and I love that guy to death, right? And they had a blue 3-ring notebook. And I'm watching the guy read from this notebook. And he's got everybody sitting there and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. He's done his homework. He's got a script put together. That's pretty professional. Go to another site 200 miles away, and I see another tour group with the same blue 3-ring binder, and he's reading from it. Then I go to the Valley of the Kings. And as you know, the Valley of the Kings, there's one thing that they don't have there. It's called shade, right? There's no shade. And stuck in that valley, no wind, no breeze, no water, and no shade, nothing but the sun, which apparently is only 3 feet from your head. So they have these spots, as you know, in the Valley of the Kings with these with benches with shade, and everybody's packed under there because there's no shade. and next to me is another tour group, and there's the dude reading from the and everybody's listening and soaking it up. But now I'm paying attention, and it was all bullshit. And so I go up to that guy. This was a guy. Anyway, I go, man, do you really believe that? And he goes, what? I said, everything that you just read to the tour group. I'm just asking, do you? And he goes, you know what, man? I graduated from university. I'm an Egyptologist. To get this job here in Egypt is very hard to do. And it's a great career and it's a great job. But this is my job to read the material. I said, that's not my question, man. Do you believe? And he goes, no, I don't. Just like that. It took a little bit, right? A little push to get it out of him. He goes, I'm out here every day. I see the same things every day. I question so much about what I'm taught. But when you're out here all the time and you're observing, he goes, I know who you're with. Right? You know, I know who you are. I know what's okay. All right. So I'm just telling you, yeah, man, there's other stuff going on here. And the more that I do my job, the more that I believe that there's something else happening and not what is in this book. And I was so relieved. Tyler, I'm serious. I was like, oh, it's a big grand conspiracy. But you know what? I think that even they know.
It's not something. It's not. I did the same thing. I talked to like some guards at Dendera, I think, one of the times. That was like, he was cool. We were joking around, and I like opened with a joke, and then I kind of got a little more like, hey, what's going on? You know, like I probed a little bit more, and basically the same thing that you said. And like that just kept happening. We went to like explored Luxor, went out on the markets and stuff, and I was like talking to everybody. I can mildly speak Arabic a little bit, so I had a little street cred. So I think they were even cooler with that. And I got the same thing. And I was telling what I thought of it, and I would like, especially at Dendera, I was talking about what I was looking at in the hieroglyphs. And then I got in trouble for it because there was like 20 people behind me listening to me, and I didn't know there was people back there. So they thought I was a tour guide saying some like stuff they weren't supposed to say. And so the guy was like, you can't talk. You can't talk. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm just I'm here to look, dude. And so I after that I got really like quiet with my stuff. It's our tour group was kind of big, but like our guide was very easy to say, like, you guys go this way, you guys go this way, you guys go, you know, divide and conquer kind of, so that we didn't get all the attention on one person. But it's a minefield out there.
I witnessed that in Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu. I'm talking about they got on the radios. Okay, we got somebody up here. We need to have them escorted off. I was like, wow.
What? You got
yeah. If you bring up, it's the same as it's the exact same thing. If you bring up anything that steps outside of what they teach and what they present, like if you go up to Machu Picchu and go, okay, I see the Inca construction.
Mm-hmm.
I see what's going on, but what's this down here? I see. There. Who did that? You can't do that.
No.
Oh no. I'm talking handcuffs.
I'm trying to do more like it sketches me out a little bit, but like I'm trying to do more off grid stuff, where that like, because I know there's definitely places in Egypt, there's definitely places in Peru where there's like just a village of people, you know, and it's just like a fence around this place. I want to do more of that. So this year I'm going to try, and I'm doing the main stuff, but I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit and try and explore these. I have a few friends that have offered, and I'm just like vetting people right now, but
yeah, if you can do it that way, all of the, because I do this all year long, right? And so I'll trade off from leading the group with somebody else that is also, you know, that I'm partnering with, so I can do that. Separate myself from, you know, I'll see you guys back at the bus, right?
Yeah.
I'm going this way. And I how do I say this? Stuff catches my eye.
Yeah.
You know, and but the main thing that I do is I'll find something, Tyler, where I'll just back up and go, okay, how? Just how? You know, you're looking around and you're just like, all right, I see it, right?
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Right? It got here. How? If you get to the why, all right, we may never know that. But the how part is absolutely unbelievably fascinating. One of the I'll give you an example. Obelisk. Obelisk, that's the eighth wonder of the world. Stupid big, easy to break, easy to crack, very fragile,
resonant,
but huge, and all that, right? And all of it is pink granite from Aswan. All right. But one of the obelisk, if you want to do research on it, just look up Cleopatra's Needle.
Oh yeah, Hatshepsut's.
Well, no.
Oh, Cleopatra's Needle. Yeah, that one's in.
It's in France.
Yeah, that's it.
So this, but the reason why it's called Cleopatra's Needle has something to do with Cleopatra. It was the name of the ship that they built for it, and this is so when we get to the, you know, how to get that to France, they built a cigar tube. Okay, you know, I guess, you know, a cigar tube, right? Round on both ends. They built one of those in the harbor at Alexandria, and then they took the obelisk that had already fallen in Alexandria. It was covered in sand. They unbury it. They put it in that tube, welded it shut, and then towed it with the ship. All right. And so on this tube, they had a rudder, They had ballast. They had 20 tons of ballast underneath to keep it in one direction. There were 6 guys on that. You had a ship towing it, but you had a crew of 6.
Mm-hmm.
They all died.
What?
Yeah. and
and
so a storm comes. The original ship that was towing it, the line broke. It's sitting out there at sea. Another ship finds it a week later. And yeah, the whole thing is, but the effort, right, for modern technology, to get that to Europe, it was insane.
That's not even a big one. No, that was like a mid-sized one.
It was mid-size, like 500 tons.
yeah. Conservative, very conservative.
But how did the Egyptians do it? If we struggled like that with steam engines and hydraulic levers and everything that we had at our disposal in 1870 and 1880 when that was done, how did the Egyptians do it, 3, 4, 5,000 years before?
I think we've just gone down an ass backwards route for science, and like I get heat for this, even though I'm my degree, I have a minor in physics and mathematics. I have a actual bachelor's in computer engineering, so I had to take all the classes. Like I know the math, I can do all the stuff, but I something about it has always seemed like this is working way too hard. Like we're doing way too much stuff. And whenever I see that stuff, I'm like, well, clearly, I said this in the video today. Clearly, this was so easy for them. They have hundreds of obelisks. They have stones that are in the above 500-ton range, which is insane. And they have this is all over the world too. So not only was it easy, it was easy and it was common knowledge. Our stuff, like, most people don't make it through high school mathematics, like high school algebra, and let alone the higher levels of math or physics. That's like a elite group of humans that can understand that, in terms of like the global population. But to them, it looks like everybody could just be like, oh yeah, obviously you just do this and this, and then the stone moves from here to here. Like, what are you, it feels to me when I look at it, like it was so easy. They're like, look at us, we can do it. We just do this with our free time.
When you're so right. I don't think because I didn't, most people don't have a concept about what we are talking about. They see it in pictures.
Yeah.
You walk up to the entrance of Luxor and you look at that Ramses obelisk, of which there were 2. There's only one there now. And you walk up on that thing is fucking huge. You don't have you don't.
His foot is huge. His toe is this big.
You remember that? And you walk up on that obelisk, and I don't know, it's 15 stories tall, right? It's 15 feet at the base, and one
it's sitting on a giant crystal block. It sits on it's a red house, like giant quartz crystal block, and then the obelisk is 10 stories high.
It's insane.
Yeah, you don't understand the scale. You see pictures, but you just truly don't understand until you walk.
You truly don't. It's really breathtaking. It's really breathtaking.
And then you have the scale too of like that's enormous and so cool and awe-inspiring. But then you have stuff like the vases now that are getting scanned, and you're like, it's at micron precision. It's not only that big, but it's that precise, that big and small. It didn't matter. They could just do it with anything.
When those pots and jars started to reveal themselves, we found, when I say we, wasn't we, I'm talking about archaeologists, they were finding pits with 1,000 and 2,000 of them at a time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There's an abundance of them. There's
perfect.
One of the most common Egyptian artifacts to find now, and they're all like
symmetrical.
Yeah, symmetry is like, and if people don't know, this is the problem. There's in engineering where like you can make a perfectly straight like side of like, let's talk about the boxes, like the Serapeum boxes, huge ones. You can make a perfectly flat side by lap grinding 2 stones together. That's not hard. What's hard is getting it to match up perfectly vertical with the other side. That's called a tolerance. the tolerances increase exponentially in difficulty the more tolerances you add. That means the thing has to be so perfect that all the sides line up, and all of the sides and all of the symmetries in the artifacts line up. So that's what, like, the most commonly overlooked thing ever, because people are like, oh, you can polish it. We've been polishing stone for years, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but do that on an object that's has perfect symmetry. We cannot, no stonemason will take that project today, because that's almost impossible.
It's impossible because it's one side. Anybody could do it.
Yeah.
It'll take you a while. It'll take you a while, but anybody could do it. You go and you're jumping into parallels, right? Both sides, then the front and back, then you have the top and bottom, and then you have the inside. The inside, it's a complexity, and then you got a lid. You got a lid that, right?
Yeah,
and all of this has to match up. It's insane.
Yeah, and then you add curves to that, like the tops of the temples and like the curves of the bases, and it's like they're not. The human hand is only so precise. That's just a fact. We don't have a fixed axis where like a lathe can make it perfect. You know, like if you're carving that, you have a margin of error, and that margin of error is hundreds of times more than what those things are showing. And that's like, how do you explain that to people that have no idea that this stuff even exists right now? And that's my challenge with content is how do I grab the people that need to know this with something interesting, and then pull them into something that might be a little more boring, but at the end of the video, you're like, oh my God, I did not know this. That's the grand challenge of all of this whole thing.
100%. And then when we look at, okay. All right. This is the dick side of me coming out. But when you look at what we have been taught, the dogma, what we have been told is this: one day, Stone Age man wearing animal skins, digging in the dirt for seeds for dinner. That's what they ate. These wandering tribes came out of the Sahara Desert, and the next day built the pyramids. That's what we're taught. That there's no space in between. There's no ramp up to it.
That's not exaggerated.
At 3000 BC, we went from that to a fully upright civilization with everything in it. Engineering, laws, music, art, language, written language, everything was just done. And the pyramids, people need to understand, the Bent Pyramid, the Red Pyramid, Dozier, Menkaure, all built within 100 years of each other, all at the beginning, not at the end. If Giza was built with Cleopatra, I could. Okay, all right,
yeah.
All right. No, they
3,000 years. That's a good run.
Right. And that's what. You know what? No, I'm not buying that. We have been force fed that for so long. So when you hear that, for you, what's the best evidence for you to resolve that this is all bullshit?
To like dismantle that, like kind of throw up. Yeah. So I take like a multifaceted approach to it. The one that hits the most for most people, I'll tell you that one. I'll tell you my favorite one. The one that hits the best for most people is showing how hard it is to move 300 tons. Because moving 300 tons means you can't drive on normal, regular roads. You can't drive on any incline over, I think it's like 3 degrees. That's like barely any incline at all. And you have to have special reinforced tires, a custom built trailer, the most powerful semi you can fucking find. All of that is required to move 300 tons across a straight road, not lifting it or anything. That's just to move the truck. That is crazy. Then you show the size of the rocks. Lifting the rock is even harder. So like showing people the stuff that we do today with it and how much less weight it is usually hits really hard. And I love doing that. But what I really like showing is the precision of like the floor plans, for example, like a temple layout or a whole city layout or whatever, and then doing the comparison with like the circuit boards and stuff like that, because those things are damn near identical. And it's one thing to say, oh, it was artistic, or it was for, you know, the flow of city or whatever. Like there's one thing in Andean art. It's a image of Viracocha, and it's got the square, and it's got these little what looks like feathers coming out of it. And I made a video showing that it was showing what's called the shoreline problem in processors, where the shoreline problem is how there's only a limited amount of space around the outside of a computer chip where you can fit connections. So you have to get clever with how you organize them, where they go, what they do, or you're going to run into geometry problems making the thing work. It shows that exact problem in the art. So you have when I can connect our modern stuff to something that they built, and then their art kind of explaining it, that seems to also make a really good connection. And I think the more of those that we can do, because we progressed a whole lot in the last like 40 years with this whole topic. Like, it was a fringe. You were a weirdo if you were talking about it for the longest time. And now it's kind of like, when I tell people about it, it's almost common knowledge. They're like, oh yeah, I don't believe that either. You know, like it's the mainstream. And just like slowly giving people little things to think about, bite-sized little things to think about and integrate. I think that's how we move it forward. But those are my two favorite things to really like shock people out of it. I think those hit harder.
You bring up a really good point that I've done my best to kind of drill this home. We all know a tractor and trailer. You see them all the time. Okay. When I whip out on people, they don't understand necessarily what they're looking at. Legally, you just brought this up. Tractor, trailer. The trailer can carry, by law, federal, 60,000 pounds, 62,000 pounds. Okay. That is only 30 tons. Okay. So what would one of the 80-ton blocks above the King's Chamber do to one of those trailers, right? A flatbed.
Not the
right,
it would
right?
cave the road in. It would
and yet there are 5 of those relieving chambers, right? And those 70, 80, 90-ton blocks were brought 500 miles from Aswan 5,000 years ago.
And lifted
now
300 feet in the air.
300 feet. Just somebody explained to me like I'm 5 years old.
Yeah.
You know,
because they were burying a guy. That's why.
Yeah.
It was the national project.
Important. It was so important. But that concept. So I did a thing. You're a math guy. I'm not a math guy. I do basic math. I can add and subtract with a calculator. I'm really good with a calculator. 500 miles. Now they say it was done one of two ways. They put them on barges. By the way, a barge
to hold that
that can displace 100 tons.
That's
do you know how big of a barge? Do you know? And we're talking about 5,000 years ago, people. Don't tell me that they just had this stuff. So, but put that aside. One of the main views in Egyptology is they put them on sleds and drag them across the desert using water in front of the sled rails, right, to moisten the sand and to drag it. Okay. Are you ready? 500 miles at a foot per hour. Take a guess. Take it 24 hours a day.
I ain't doing that math.
It's like 1,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
that's
right?
for one. That's for one.
For one block. And so however they did it, I don't know, but it was easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. Maybe they had the woolly mammoth.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's always the elephant, man. It's always the elephant.
It's always the elephant. It's always the elephant.
Big elephants.
Herodotus wrote, I know you know this. I just want to get your insight. Herodotus said, they built the pyramids with machines. Okay, that's his famous quote, with machines. When he's using a word like that, what do you think that actually means? What were the machines? We can go all the way to crazy town with it, or it could be something very simple. I don't know. But with that description from Herodotus, and he wrote that in, I think, 400 BC, right? What do you think that reference to machines was?
So I'm torn because the video I made today, I was talking about the Antikythera mechanism. You know what that is? The clock they found in
Antikythera?
Greece?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Antikythera. So that was a 2,000-year-old computer, analog computer, but it was a machine. It had gears. If you saw it and you saw the x-rays, you'd be like, this is a machine. So if he's saying that, I want to think that he's saying it was some sort of mechanically leveraged machine. But again, the math doesn't math when you go that route. That's how we would do it. That's like putting our lens on what a machine is. What I consider, so I have a Vajra here from ancient India. I consider this a machine because how they describe it in the Vedas is more like some sort of like weapon or a lightsaber that we would put in a sci-fi film. So when I think when he says machine, I want to say that it's more like this. I really do. I want to say that on some nano quantum level, that was where their consciousness was. And I can go into the fringes with that as well, with like, it being activated by a certain particular vibration, or like almost like a mind control thing, because we're almost there. We can control robots with the mind right now. We're already in this arena of technology, and our technology, put this in perspective, the modern era of technology is very, very new, 150 years old ish, if you want to count that. If you have a civilization with 5,000 years of runway and they already hit where we're at in year 200, where are we going to be at in a couple thousand years? It's probably going to be some technology that doesn't require a user interface like a computer or a phone or anything like that. It's going to be more based on the interaction of consciousness with the object. And if you slowly increase the level of tech as that goes up, then your phone essentially gets evolved into something that isn't a phone, that you don't touch and you don't use in the way that we think about it. That's where I think it progressed in the most rational way. I want to believe they had lightsabers, though. That's truly what I want.
They're you and me both. Well, because even though this sounds whack, the traditional things that we have at our disposal for Stone Age man, which is what was going on, it was the very dawn of the Bronze Age with with bronze and copper that doesn't do anything to granite or most stones, soft sandstone, stuff in limestone. That's different. But going the other direction, that they were doing something that either was forgotten or that we just don't know about, and amnesia set in, and that's a much easier explanation. It's like Occam's razor, right?
Agreed.
Because the traditional stuff,
the mental hoops you have to jump through to make the traditional one make sense at this point seems more ridiculous to me than being like, it was aliens, just straight writing it off. To me, the traditional one is like so far outside of my realm of being able to make it make sense. It's not a consideration.
This is what I did. So I started to pick apart even my friend's research, only because I'm trying to get to some answers. And then, so I backed off, and I got the famous book, Egypt Before the Pharaohs. By the way, you should get that book. It's amazing. You remember the movie Stargate, right? Okay, so James Spader is packing his backpack, And when he's at the beginning of the movie, one of the books is Egypt Before the Pharaohs. Okay. All right. So get the book, Egypt Before the Pharaohs. It's great. Anyway, so I'm looking at it and I thought, okay, wait a minute. This is what we're told. Great Pyramid, 20,000 people, 20,000 slaves, 20,000 people, 20 years, right? One block every 2 minutes. All right. Okay. Now, when was Khafre built? So you look that up. They were built at the same time. So now we're dealing with not 20,000 people. We're dealing with 40,000. And it's not 2.5 million stones. It's 5 million stones. But they don't tell you that part. So now let's back up. 40,000 people. Now, in the 75 years prior to that, the Bent Pyramid is built, which is just as big and just as amazing as the Great Pyramid or Khafre, or even Menkaure. Wait a minute. So that means the same amount of people built the Bent Pyramid. What about the Red Pyramid, which was built in between those, right? After the Bent Pyramid, then they built the Red Pyramid. Well, how many people built that? Well, let's back up to Dozier. Let's look at Menkaure. Wait a minute. All right. So what was the population of Egypt at that time? Nobody talks about this. That's the forbidden fruit. The population of all of Egypt up and down the Nile was 500,000 people at 3000 BC. So if we're now talking about 40, 50, 60,000 people needed to do this construction project, and you've got 500,000 people in Egypt, the entire population, where did they come from? Who built it? Because you take that 500,000, half are women. So now you got 250,000. How many are too old? How many are too young? How many are sick?
How many are fighting wars to keep things safe?
All of that. Who's farming? Who's making the clothes? Who's cooking the food? Right? So now you cut that down, and then the numbers. This is what they teach us. This isn't my made up stuff. That means every single able-bodied person in Egypt only built pyramids. Nobody did anything else at all. Nobody farmed, right? Nobody fished. And nobody did anything.
We're not even talking about the temples either. There's temples, there's cities, there's other stuff other than the pyramids that were built at the same time.
Who was building those boats?
Who?
You know, and it's where I just back up and go, well, okay. It doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, here's another one that doesn't get talked about enough too. They're building these boats, right? What wood are they using for those boats?
Allegedly, cedar from Lebanon.
Yeah. So
there are no trees in Egypt. There are
you can't
no
use date
trees.
You can't use date palm wood. So you have to use Lebanese cedar. They make saunas out of cedar because it's cheap and it's very thin and it's very easy. It's breakable. It has almost no compressive strength. It's kind of a shitty wood. And so they used all Lebanese cedar. And who's importing the cedar? How did they get that much cedar to move all these fucking like? If you need a barge that big to move one obelisk, like,
that's a lot. That is a lot of imported lumber.
Yeah. And where did that go? Where's the evidence of that? Where's there's so many theories here, and like the ramp theory or whatever. Where's all the dirt for the ramp? It's like Kailasa in India. Where's all the rock they pulled out of the mountain? Like the theories are all fine and dandy when you see them, and then someone brings some little thing up, and that's why like I pride myself on doing is like this little detail here though is like we can't move past this. We can't, same with like the moon and stuff like that. Like we still have no idea what the moon is. Like there's so much stuff we don't know. I love just exploring all of it.
Okay, so when you look at the amount of let me back up. I'm going to come back to copper. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't take notes, but if I did take notes, I would write down copper right now so I can circle back to that.
I got you.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Bill, remind me.
You got it,
Bill,
you got it,
pop
Jimmy.
it up. Yeah,
You got
exactly.
it.
Exactly. Here is for me, Giza, and you get this all over Egypt, but Giza is one of the best examples because it is so big and it is so old. But there's another thing that comes into play here that I just don't see Stone Age man thinking through. The Giza plateau, yes, 13 acres that they leveled off, perfectly level, right? Okay, so that right there, I got problems with. I mean, it's done, you can see it, but underneath those pyramids are foundation stones. People don't talk about that.
There's only one picture on the internet that I've ever found of the biggest one I saw there. It's on the corner. It's on the corner of Giza. I don't remember which one. But if you walk around it, there's one block that looks like the Baalbek stones, and it's huge. And
I've seen it too. Yeah.
You can tell it's been quarried, and the exoskeleton that's underneath the casing stones, that is huge, dude.
It's crazy. And here to understand the size of what we're talking about, to walk around the Great Pyramid, to walk around it, take you an hour.
Yeah.
People don't, it's that big. If you just did a leisurely, I've walked around a couple of times. I've walked around the Bent Pyramid. Okay. The Bent Pyramid pictures, 60 minutes, an hour. You know, it's not a 5-minute stroll.
Yeah,
no,
it's enormous.
And underneath all of that are these perfectly cut leveling foundation stones that the pyramid is sitting on top of. It's not on naked bedrock.
And the floor that you're walking over was also quarried. Like they leveled the floor and then they put a basalt floor on top of it that was quarried to build Cairo. So while you're walking around, it would take you an hour if you didn't get distracted by all the other stuff you see on the ground and on the walls that they quarried to like perfectly smooth to fit this thing in there. Endless.
It's crazy. I don't know. You and I talked about this a little bit before, but we'll do it again now. When you pull up to Giza, now you can you're going to do it two ways. You're going to do what all the tourists do. You go up with all the camels on the upper level, with all the craziness that goes on up there with the tourists, right? But if you're cool, you pull your bus down to the Great Pyramid, right? Down to the Sphinx, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that drive, you suddenly see what's underneath. You see all the sides of temples. You see columns, you see entryways, you see door, you see the underneath, but you don't see that from the top of Giza. And
like,
I think you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, on the causeway, like when you're walking up, you just look to the side and there's like door. They're all gated, all of them.
Old. That
it's like
causeway,
a honeycomb there, like.
It's like, okay, so where's that going? And not only sideways, there's stuff that's going down. You know,
what do you think of the shaft thing? Like, not only the scan shaft, but like when you're walking down there, they have those. They're probably as big as, I don't know, a couple meters by a couple meters, square shafts that just have no end in sight. Like they've excavated them, but you're just like, where does it end?
And it's scary too. It's scary.
Yeah, they have grates over them. You can't fall in them. But it's like,
Uh-huh.
like they're all over the place. People were freaking out about those scans. I was like, I saw a bunch of tunnels down there. I know there's tunnels down there.
And for Zahi and others, there's nothing to discover. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I see it. You're telling me that I'm crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You'd have to build
you didn't
buildings
see
over
that.
all of Giza to be like, there's nothing here to see. Like, You can't swing a stick and hit something that you could enter and go down into the underworld. Like there's a bunch of stuff down there. I know
Yeah.
they know there's
Now, what do your eyes tell you when you're looking at the other stuff? Okay, so you've got 3 pyramids in front of you. You've got the head of the Sphinx sticking out. But when you look at along the causeway and the Valley Temple and the other temples that are there, what do you think? Do they match age-wise? Do they look the same to you?
that kind of messed me up when I got there, because I didn't when you're researching before you go to Egypt, you want to like Giza, you focus on the pyramids, but there's the Sphinx temple and the Valley Temple that are right in the front of it, and they look like the Osirian. And here's what messed me up: they claim that the Osirian is the oldest temple that's in Egypt, and I'm like, okay, how are these not as old as the Osirian? They're exactly the same architecture. There's nothing on them, no hieroglyphs, no nothing, just 50-ton blocks of granite. They're right by the water. The Osirian is in water. They look like a chip of some sort. Like there's stuff in there that looks exactly the same as the other cultures that were smoothing out rocks and going around corners and doing this perfectly. Those 2 places, in my opinion, if I was going to Giza and you want to see some real mysterious stuff, Sphinx Temple, Valley Temple, Menkaure. Like the Great Pyramid, sick, super cool, so much stuff to look at there. But if you want the real stuff, like you want the real wonky stuff, those 3, the Wall of the Crow, the Cave of the Birds, I think those easily like so much older than all of that stuff. That stuff, when you go to those things, looks new almost.
The Tomb of the Birds.
Tomb of the Birds.
When you're okay, here's the we're gonna hit a break here, but Tyler just mentioned something that is crazy. So if you get a chance to go to Egypt, do it. If you can find this in photographs, people don't talk about this much. So you go down to into the Sphinx temple, and you're standing at the paws of the Sphinx. Yeah, man, it's the Great Sphinx. It's badass. It is. Turn around. Turn around and go up and look into, and right in front of the Sphinx are 2 of the biggest carved stones you will ever see on planet Earth. And they're part of, and you're like, wait a minute, dude, 6 feet thick, 50 feet wide, 10 feet deep, and they're just somebody carved and placed those. But everybody wants to look at the Sphinx, and I get it.
If you don't look, you'll miss it, though.
You'll miss it.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. I went up one day. Everybody's down at the Sphinx having a good time. I'm up there by myself and looking into the Sphinx temple and how that is it's insane. How, and it's right there. It's right there. Unbelievable. Let's take a quick. Hold on. Copper. Bill, you're fired. Clean out your desk.
You are a professional, dude.
Yeah, no, you too. You are BassForge from here on out. Is okay. So, 5 million stones, right? Okay, carved in place. Then we have the limestone exterior carved in place, right? Okay. I don't know what the calculations are, but that is a lot of copper chisels. Somewhere, and I mean millions of copper chisels, not a couple of hundred. We're talking about 5 million stones. How many copper chisels were worn out and thrown away per block? Per block. So somewhere on the Giza plateau, there, if we go with the dogma, are pits full of copper. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of tons of copper, wasted copper. How about the little nibs of chisels, right? The little
ends, the last little eraser of chisels.
The last little thing. Where is all of that?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. You can't just dismiss it. You can't.
Yeah.
Well, they reused it. Okay. All right. Where's the? Just show me where it is. Where it is, because there's a lot.
I think they
of
only
it.
have. They don't even have that many copper chisels like in the museums and stuff like that. You would think that every
it's
museum
the most
on Earth would have an
rarest.
Egyptian.
It's the most.
It's more
rarest
rare
of
than the precision pots. Finding a chisel would be more rare than finding a precision carved granite vase.
100%. At the Met in New York, and the Met is truly one of the gifts from God on planet Earth. It's an incredible museum, but a third of the museum is Egyptian, right? The Egyptian wing, and they have a temple from Dendera there. They reassembled.
Yeah.
They stole it, dude. They stole it out of the desert, put it on a boat. Yeah, and brought it over here. Now the whole thing, the whole temple is there. Anyway, but in the back, I'm going through, and it's pretty incredible what they have there. They have a lot of stolen shit. It's all stolen.
Yeah.
But so they have this red granite stela. It's about this wide, maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall. It's about this thick. Beautiful pink granite. And you go up and you look, and the hieroglyphs that are carved into it are tiny rows, just thousands of them, right? Just rows. But when you look, they're deep. Okay, they're not like carved on the surface, right? They're like a 1/4 inch deep, and they're perfect. And so you're looking at, oh wow, okay, somebody spent some time on this. But then get to the bottom of the stela, Tyler. The bottom of the stela, they got a little copper needle. It's about this long. It looks like a sewing needle.
The one that
with a description card. The above pink stela was carved using this copper chisel. And you look, and it's a thin needle.
Yeah, you got like a little
right.
A
thin, like a toothpick, right? And so you're looking at that, and you're looking at this red granite stone. No. Simply no. But people read that, and now because it's written and it's at the Met, it's truth.
Yeah, that's how easy it is to make truth.
Have you been to the Met?
I only saw the temple part. I was in DC, and I went to New York for like 2 days, and I was like, I gotta do as much as I can. But yeah, I didn't get to go through the whole.
That temple is
when
you walk around the corner, you're not expecting it at all, right? And you walk in, you're
like a moat or something around it, too.
Yeah, they you're like, oh my God, what? I mean, everybody, you have to understand, it's a temple. The pillars, the hall, the thing, the roof, the stairs, the ramp to get up, it's all there. And then you look on the walls, they have the pictures of what the temple looked like back in like 1900, right? It was covered in sand up to the roof.
Yep.
The whole thing. And they removed the sand. There's the temple. And I don't know, it was Vanderbilt or somebody was like, fuck it. Let's take it. Let's take it. They did, man. They took it back. And there it is, sitting in this giant room, and it's pretty incredible. Do you think, I don't know if it's reparations is the right word. Do you think that some of the museums in the world should carry a little bit of guilt?
Look, okay, here I have such mixed feelings on that, because one, I think if they didn't take some of it, we probably would have lost it, because if you see what's going on in Peru, a lot of shit's getting like just wrecked.
It's all black market.
Yeah, all black market. There's no provenance. We can't tell if it's real or
no
fake.
Police. There's no police. Yeah. There's nobody out there regulating any of this.
So maybe in a way, I'm like, yeah. Do I think it should be repatriated if the government got better? Absolutely yes. But in its current state, I think they're safer where they're at presently.
Okay. If you give up one thing, then you kind of got to give it all back too.
Yeah. So it's like the
Rosetta Stone, that's at the British Museum. Do you give it back? I mean, the bust of Nefertiti, which is at the Berlin Museum, the most iconic image. There's two things out of Egypt that are Egypt: Nefertiti's bust, Tut's death mask. Okay. All right. Those are the two things. All right. Do you give do you just give it back?
I don't
I'm-
know. I don't
it's not
know.
the right thing to do.
It feels right, but also like after going, if I didn't go to Egypt, I'd be like, return all of it right now. It needs to go back to Egypt. But after going there, I'm like, I don't know if that's the right move right now.
Well, the first time I went to the Met, we're going to take our break now. First time I went to the Met, which was probably 30 years ago or maybe longer. But so in the back and you round the corner, it's multi rooms, it's 3-story, it's a ginormous Egyptian thing. But they have a row of sphinxes and they have like 8, right? Okay. And so you see them there. All right. That's cool. And they're whatever, they're like 10 feet long, 6 feet high. They're all matching and they're all there. Okay. All right. Then you go to Luxor and you see the missing sphinxes.
Yeah.
They went in and dude, because there's like 2,000 of them, right?
Yeah.
Right. Literally.
Yeah.
And they're all and it's great. But dude, it's like, oh,
there they are.
man, I know where those are at. Right? 7 are missing in a row.
Yeah.
And
Like
they're
the easiest ones to take.
put them back.
Yeah. Certain things you could get back.
I just feel weird about it. I don't some of it, okay, all right. I'm glad and I'm appreciative, and you're right. It's well kept, and the world needs to, not everybody can go to Egypt, okay. But certain things,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. They're doing a good job. Grand Egyptian Museum is good. Like all the museums I've been to with it, great job at protecting and preserving these things. And as long as that's going on, I think maybe that issue is a little bit of a back burner just because we still have them, and they're there to see. But like, man, yeah, I there's so much that comes out of there. Like, how do we even know how much is even actually in the world anywhere else?
Right. Well, but that was sport from 1800, from 1800 to 1900. Yeah, that was sport.
Yeah,
go to Egypt, get a boat, get your guys together, head out, and grab everything that you can. And all of those little villages out there, that's where the good stuff is. So you go and you make nice with the leader of the village, because he's got a house full of shit that he wants to sell, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not here to change the world. It's just the way, and you got to put food on the table. Yeah. And that's it. I totally get it. But there's this display at the Met. I can keep talking about this all day long. So you're walking that, and then there's this, and nobody's really looking at this stuff. People want to look at the sarcophagus, and I get they have a whole row of crazy stuff there, of giant sarcophagus and mummies and stuff. Anyway, but when you go into the maze of the glass cabinets, not many people are back there, and I think that's where some of the cool stuff is. And I look, and there's a big glass cabinet with sandals. Okay, sandals. And I go up to this pair of sandals that are made out of gold. Okay. So the bottom of the sandal, the sole, is thinly hammered gold. Okay. 24 karat gold with the thong coming out of it, for between your toes. And it's what do you call braided gold, right? Coming back with jewels on it. And I'm looking at that, and the description that, this is 4,000 years old from here, from there. Okay. All right. Buried with this queen or this king, whatever. And okay. Where'd it come from? Where did it come from? Somebody's paying somebody, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Who said I need a gold flip-flop?
And so there's somebody, and this is how every museum does this. Okay. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, and the Louvre and the British Museum and Berlin, but the Met too. Dude, You're going to Egypt with a suitcase full of money from the Met. That's Met money.
That's exactly
That's Met money. That's Met money. You're buying stuff for their Egyptian wing.
Unless you're Napoleon and you cut the ceiling out of Dendera. That's crazy.
Man. I did
a hole there. I'm like,
I did a whole show on Monday on Napoleon, and the crazy, you and I are not doing this show tonight if Napoleon doesn't get stuck in Egypt.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's it. It's not even a question.
Yeah, say whatever you want about the dude, but like,
yeah, just say whatever you want. That dude gave us Egypt and changed the future of everything.
Yep.
Napoleon, that short little motherfucker.
Short little guy.
And people want to look at the wars and the things and his military this and okay. No. That guy gave us Egyptology. He was the first one to get to the Valley of the Kings. He was the first one to get to Kamambo and Luxor and Karnak and Dendera and Abydos. That's all Napoleon.
Yeah,
all of it. And here's another nugget, and then we'll break. You ready? Napoleon lost in Egypt. They had to sign a peace treaty. It was the first time he had ever lost. All right. So everything that they collected, the French, and it was the first time. So they had all the good stuff. The British in the peace treaty, this was the deal that was cut. Are you ready? The British get everything. You get nothing. That was the peace treaty. So everything that Napoleon collected is now at the British Museum. That's why the Rosetta Stone, which was discovered by the French, that's why that's at the British Museum and not at the Louvre. Yeah. An entire history of a country is put on boats, taken out of the country because of a battle, right? That was won and lost by two European countries that had nothing to do with Egypt. The culture is put on boats and taken out. That's okay. Let's take our break right here. Tyler,
all right,
stay right there. When we come back, we're going to dive deep into your research. This is Fade to Black. Tyler, stay right there. We'll be right back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit consciouslifeexpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forster and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to churchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, BassForge. That's right. I was going to say Bass, man. I was going to say Bass. Tyler Engel is with us tonight. We're talking about his research. And Tyler, the safe
You
word.
were close there, dude. You were so close.
The safe word is whiskey.
Whiskey.
Why are you saying it like that? Saying what?
What way?
What way? What way? I'm so going to watch that tonight. I'm so hot rod. I need a hot rod T-shirt. I wonder if they make those.
Yeah,
I need like a hot rod T-shirt.
that was like my peak high school too. I was like so far in that.
Just
they don't make them like they used to, man.
They don't. Just make it funny. Just make it funny. Make it funny.
You don't have to have an agenda. Just be funny.
I wonder if that film could be made today. I mean, because they offended just about.
Yeah. I mean, that's what like the whole 2010 to like 2015 era of movies was like, dude.
No boundaries. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
no boundaries. It's okay to laugh,
refreshing.
man.
Yeah, you can laugh.
It's
That's the
okay to
point,
laugh. What's underneath Giza?
dude.
What is underneath Giza?
Okay. No, I want you to answer first. What do you think this scan stuff is real? Yay or nay?
I think that the technology is showing us something. Is it where the imagination is going with a lot of this?
Mhm.
I truly don't know, but there is something under there.
Yeah.
The problem for me is when you're talking a kilometer or
Mm.
two, that
That's
we're
insane.
starting to stretch things. But you brought up the Tomb of the Birds.
Mhm.
That is a cave system that goes directly underneath the
Yeah.
Giza Plateau, and with
And
no
it's
end in sight. By the way,
huge.
it's
Huge.
ginormous. So clearly, there's something under there, and could there be something further? My instinct says yes. I truly want to believe that. I really I don't want this to not be something, because that would suck.
It would
Okay, so
suck.
what do you
It would
think?
it would suck. I have so many mixed feelings on this, and like I get asked it all the time, and I want to believe it's real, just like I want the Vajra to be a lightsaber. I want it to be real, but that doesn't cloud my perspective on what I'm seeing. And so, if it is, my favorite theory on what it is a monitor for like a geomagnetic activity. They had to put something very deep, and the pyramid was kind of the tip of it, and it was like a sensor for like a magnetic pole excursion. And if it were to trigger that sensor, it would kind of send a pulse and kind of correct the internal magnetic field. That's the wildest one, but I think the coolest one.
What would that
I've
be used for?
So like, you know how the magnetic pole is like on an excursion right now with
Mhm.
our currents. So there is a plausible theory. I made a series on this of what happens if that goes too far. If it goes too far and doesn't correct itself, then the internal magnetics of the planet kind of like get chaotic in there. They're not aligned. And what that does is it creates a layer between the mantle and the crust, like a fluid, lubricated layer. So the crust can just kind of like rotate freely. The internals still stay the same, but the crust kind of gets able to move wherever it wants to. That's the sloshing effect. And so if they were, if they were as advanced as they were, and they could do this stuff, maybe they were aware of that, and they needed something to kind of, if it starts to drift a little bit, we can send a pulse down there and correct the magnetic field and keep it vertical. That's what I want the scientific one to be. Like, this is all, we're all speculative here, but do I think it's that deep? I don't know. Well, like you said, the claim is extravagant when you think about it, because it's so much deeper than, like, the pyramid itself is already impressively tall, but like going that far down with coiled tubes and all that, don't quite know. Now, like, the alternative and the evidence I've seen against this is kind of compelling too. So, do you know him, Jimmy Corsetti?
Yep.
Yeah. So he made a post today, and there's like a geological survey of what's in front of the pyramids. And what it is a Grand Canyon sized canyon in front of it, filled with silt and sand. That didn't show up on the scans. That's what's throwing me off. They didn't pick that up on the scans of the plateau. So if there's it's limestone filled with a less dense stone of, sand and silt and stuff from the Nile. If they couldn't pick that up, it just raises questions to me. It's got confirmed by multiple satellites. I know that. And like, I'm still hesitant to be like gung ho about its actual truthfulness. But if you're asking what's under the Giza plateau in general, I think, and I'm not exaggerating on this, I think it is a literal city, a metropolis city, similar to like Derinkuyu, but way more geometrically perfect, way more calculated and precise. I think there's multiple levels that go very deep. I think there's water systems. There's water there now. I think there's hydrological engineering, a way to pump water from the Nile back up to certain spots within Egypt that were needing water and irrigation system. I don't think that's going too far into the realm of speculation. I think that could be easily proven with what we know now.
I'm with you on that. And I'll tell you why. We have all kinds of things that are underground all over Egypt. You can see it yourself. When you see this Serapeum for the first time, you're not, to me, just as nuts as the Great Pyramid.
Totally agree.
Just as crazy as the Assyrian.
Totally agree.
Because when you walk up on it, there is nothing around you but sand dunes.
You'd never know it's there. You would never know.
And so when you and I've done it. I've been given the keys and walked down and unlocked it. Okay, and walked in. Okay, so it's not like I'm pulling this shit out of a video that I've seen. No, I'm telling you, right? So you're not prepared for that because you take the long walk, right? And you come around, you're in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and then you come around the corner and you hit that ramp to go down to this, and you're looking up, and there's nothing there but sand.
It's unimposing too. There's nothing spectacular.
There's nothing that would indicate how they found it. The British in 1832 is a whole nother story. But when you walk in there and you observe, it is bigger. I'm speaking to the audience, not to you. You've been there. It's bigger than any shopping mall that you hung out in as a kid. It's like that.
The part that's storefront. The part that's open is that big.
Right.
Not the part that you can't go in.
And you're going down these hallways, 30 feet high, 30 feet wide, carved with all of the storefronts, right? All the chambers. And you take another corner and there's another, and then you walk back out and look at the sand again. And try to digest the complex that is down underneath there. So the idea of something like that underneath Giza, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally.
I mean, Osiris is already there. We already have some that are kind of there.
And that's 100. That's 100 feet. That's 10 stories down.
Yeah, and that's like not even the deepest part of stuff that they've seen. I want to keep going on the Serapeum because that was like. When you walk into it for the audience, when you walk into it, you're greeted the very first step in by a lid to a box that is probably 50 tons. That they had to move out of the way because it was just left in the Serapeum, like someone abandoned it hastily.
It's in the hallway. It's in the hallway.
Yeah.
You have to walk around
actually in the hallway.
Yeah, you have to shimmy down
the gap. The gap to get around that box, you don't really think you can fit through it. It's very, very narrow. So like carrying that thing outside above ground would be ridiculous. Like I can't imagine, but like who's lifting the fucking box? Like
how I try to, if you have ever tried to move a couch up into your second floor apartment, right? Okay, navigating corners and doors and the stairs and all of that, and how hard that is. Right. Dude, do that with 100-ton box.
With no machinery. Yeah, like
no wheels.
No machinery. What's the best theory that you've heard for what those are?
Okay, so the new Zahi Hawass, I don't want to say his name on there. It's uncool. And I got in a fight about this at the Serapeum at the door. So he's there and he comes up, Jimmy. I said, hey man, how's the job going? It's going pretty good. I said, hey man, I want to ask you about this because at the entrance, when you first walk in, they have a box right there at the front of the entrance, and they had the lid shifted at the top. So I asked him, I go, dude, bulls? Really? He goes, we have evidence of the bulls. I said, where's the bull? Well, it's not on display. Okay. I'm going to just stop you right there. Bulls were put in these boxes as a sacred ceremony, and this complex was built to put animals in. If you want to tell me it was humans and it was gods and stuff, okay, all right. But don't tell me it's bull, because where are the bulls?
Yeah.
And how were all of these lit? So everybody just came in, opened the crypts up, and removed the bulls. So where are they? Well, there's one that was found. There was one that was sealed. Where is it?
I've
Put it
never
on
seen
display.
the bulls.
No. Chase that story down, right? So I said to him, you're gonna love this, Tyler. And so I had like 50 people around me videotaping. They're like churches going at it. But I wasn't being offensive or argumentative. I just asked him, I said, okay, look at this lid. And it's, it's 2 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
Lord knows what it weighs.
Yeah.
But I said, how is that opened and closed? He goes, oh, well, actually, so what they did, they took little pieces of wood and they wedged it in and put water on it. And then when it swelled, they put another piece of wood in and then swelled that so it would eventually lift up, and that's how they moved. I go, no, come on. Do you really believe that?
And the Lebanese cedar is amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's that good.
It's that good.
That's Merlin. And it wasn't that I have any answers for any of this, but I was just countering what he was saying so he could just sit there and think about the words that are coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
That's all, and I know he's got to toe the line and he's got funding and everything else.
And cameras on him.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, man. When you look at those, you're the engineer, right? You're the one that studied physics in college. Okay. I didn't get out of 8th grade math. So anyway, those corners in the Serapeum, those corners and the size of the boxes, they don't make any sense, do they?
Add up.
Right?
There's a few that do, and those are the ones you see, but there's ones in the back that there's one all the way in the back that's like there's no room, like a human can't fit. It got like tucked away, like they weren't using it, or it was like a spare box or something. That's what I felt it was. The lid is absolutely massive. It's one of the biggest ones there, actually, and it's in like a corner that looks specifically cut for that box. Like there's no other way I can explain it. Like that forklift would maybe put it there. That's all the room you have. That is one you don't see. You see the ones that you can, even those don't make sense. They're submerged too. Like when you walk through.
With that, wait. Let me, Tyler. I don't mean to rudely interrupt you. That's one of the most impressive parts about it. Yeah, the size of the boxes and getting them in and moving around and doing, and the lids and the thing, and they're all inscribed and carved and stuff. Okay, they are down. So you're walking, you look down. They're not parked at the same level. Yeah,
the floor is the same level as the boxes.
They're down.
Yeah,
you look down.
How do you drop that? How do you drop that? And they're like, oh, they filled them up with sand and then they slowly dug the sand out. And I'm like, where are you guys making this stuff up at? Because it is like some Hollywood level creativity studios that you're coming up with this stuff for. That
do you ever dismiss? I'm going to say it out loud. Magic. I'm not being serious. I'm being 100% serious right now.
Because when Zahi was on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was like, "Do you believe in magic?" Zahi was like, "Yes, of course I believe in magic." It's like,
how do you think they built that shit?
But magic, in the sense that we cannot describe the technology. It's the same thing. It's like Arthur C. Clarke. Any sufficiently advanced, like technology appears to be magic. That is more of what I think it is. I really think it was more like they had some really near quantum tech if it wasn't like that, where matter was kind of more of a concept than an objective to overcome. It was more like how we can do whatever we want with this tech. That's what I feel more like it was. And pair that with what we were talking about earlier, where you could control it with your mind like we do now with our devices. To anyone looking at it right now, even it would appear like magic. Probably we would appear like magic even a couple hundred years ago with the stuff that we're doing. So no, I don't think it's out of the realm possibility to be magic if we're defining it in that sense. And I think that the ultimate goal of a civilization or an intelligent species is to hit that point. I think they hit that point, and they were putting some safeguards in place so that the right civilization found their stuff later on. Is that us? I don't know. I don't know if we're the right ones. We're getting close, but like, what would we do?
The reason why you and I are discussing this right now is because they didn't write it down.
Yeah.
They didn't write it down.
But
anywhere.
I think that was, again, I think it was like a firewall, dude. Like if you're
it would completely, I agree with that.
Look at the Bible, man. Look at how many different interpretations everyone has for the Bible. Like you ask most Christians and they'll give you a different interpretation for each psalm or like verse in the Bible. And so I think if they were smart enough to move this stuff, put it underground, do all this stuff, they knew that a actual language with letters would be misinterpreted. A symbolic language in an engineering fashion is exactly what I would do if I was going to protect this stuff, because in an engineering language, which is what Egypt is, it's closer to an engineering schematic than it is a textual language.
For sure.
And if you interpret it that way, then it's like, okay, if I left something for a civilization, like a schematic, it's like, how do I build this Vajra? I'm going to have different views of it. I'm going to have this scale. I'm going to have ratio. I'm going to have all this geometry in there. That's all we got. So that to me seems like the barrier of entry to understanding their language and tech is to be able to understand that sacred geometry and ratio and vibration are the fundamental core concepts of what reality is. We already know this. So making a language and describing stuff in that sense, that would be, okay, you have to, as a civilization, hit a certain point before you can understand this. It's like the test,
I was talking about three-body problem last night, and what was interesting about there's a lot of interesting things about three-body problem, but the civilization that is coming to Earth cannot survive. They're constantly being reset because the instability of they have three bodies that are a couple of suns and the planet. That's it. Three-body problem that are random. So different catastrophes. Every time they achieved a certain level of their culture, boom, it ended and they had to reset. All right. If you take that concept and apply it to Egypt, Egypt didn't have any of that shit. Egypt, every day is the same as the day before. Not a cloud in the sky, no rain, no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no blizzards, no snowstorms, no nothing for thousands of years. So you are able to grow as a civilization. They had that opportunity, that window to develop themselves. The other magic that happened, I said it, the Nile flooding every year. Yeah. So they had all the food. They never, you know what I mean? So every day was like, well, shit, man, let's do something cool.
Yeah.
And you were able to develop the concepts of life after death, of consciousness, of science, of engineering, because you didn't have any interruptions. You were living the perfect life for thousands of years where nothing was disruptive. Same gods, right? Same as
like a seed bank nowadays. Like we would store it in a mountain where it's not going to get touched for a very long time, just in case some shit happens and we need to get our ancestral seeds out of it. We can go do that. that to me makes more sense from a perspective of what they were doing than the National Project or any of these other theories that people have. To me, the one that makes the most sense is they may have got reset, because if you go back to like the Zep-Tepi legends and stuff, it does say they didn't come from here. Like this isn't wildly speculative, ancient alien stuff. It's like on the walls of Edfu. You can go and read it yourself. So maybe that something similar to that was happening, and maybe it wasn't in a far off place with 3 body problems. Maybe the Earth was just unstable, and they finally figured out how to get civilization to a point where they can progress. But they knew that it was not going to last forever. And they knew that they just didn't have enough time to get to the level of stabilizing the entire thing. Maybe they couldn't work together as a population globally. That's like, because if we're talking about a threat that big, the entire Earth needs to be on board with like saving us, or it's not going to happen. And so then you go into the Greek legends of Atlantis, and they were having beef, and Egypt was a colony and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, maybe they were just on the cusp and they didn't make it out. And Egypt was the only one that had enough foresight to be like, in the future, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary and hopefully this doesn't happen again.
Well, and so if you take that, and I totally agree with all of that. If you take everything into consideration, what Egypt and the ancient Egyptians, they recognized very quickly that they had no interest in what else was going on around the world. Nothing was as perfect as Egypt.
Yeah.
There was no reason for them to go conquer Libya. Yeah. It wasn't as cool as Egypt, right? I'm sure you know this. I'll say this to the audience. An Egyptian, especially in the army, did not want to die outside of the country. No, I'm not dying. No. And so that mindset, that kept everybody, they would go and invade Nubia for gold. That's what the purpose of the military was. It wasn't to conquer the land. It was to go and get riches and bring it back. And so they continued their stuff. But nobody wanted to die outside of the country. There was no reason for that for them, because Egypt was perfect to them. And they realized that very early on, that they were very special, that it was very unique. They could go to Nubia, they could go up into Palestine, and they could go to Syria and see the backward civilizations that were there.
Yep.
That were nothing compared to what they had back in Egypt.
Well,
right?
if you look at their culture too, everyone borrowed symbolic stuff from Egypt, but Egypt didn't borrow any symbolic things from anyone. They made it. They made all of it.
I don't want to say that they were looking down on other cultures, but they were.
Yeah.
They were.
I would argue that India did a similar thing, maybe not to the same like scale, even though their scale is insane too. I think both of them kind of had a really strong grasp on like, we don't need anything else from anyone. We've got this, Whereas like Europe in that side was like, okay, we got to like pool our stuff and form these alliances and all this stuff. Like both of these guys were like, we're cool.
Yeah, no, you're right though. When you consider Britain and parts of Europe, I'm not talking down to anybody out there, but they were making mud pies.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they were doing.
When Egypt was flourishing, they were
flourishing. Yeah. And here's the other concept that is just amazing to me. When the pyramids were built, or just in general, go to 3000 BC, 2800 BC, when all of that action was going on, Greece was still 2,500 years away.
Yeah.
Rome was almost 3,000 years off into the future. That's an amazing way to look at all of this. How far along they came. Now, when we look at, I want to comment on what you just said. India, Egypt, and Peru all did the same thing. They had a long enough time throughout ancient history to develop consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a crazy? Because at year zero, right? Christ,
Mm-hmm.
from that point forward, technology comes into play.
Is that not
And money and
ultimately-
coins and capitalism and all of that, and the move away from consciousness happened. But all the great strides in consciousness, India, Peru, and Egypt, were done in ancient history and prehistory.
we're still using that stuff today, like all of our philosophy and ethics and stuff. There's not really too much new stuff that's coming out of that. We're just like returning to what they said, essentially. And I think that's ultimately where a civilization ends up. You dissect the material world, you classify it, you make technology, you stumble here and there, trying experimenting and stuff. But once you reach a certain level, it starts to become like, okay, why are we here? Why are we here? Who actually are we? You start getting real philosophical once your basic needs are taken care of, And at a civilizational level, if you have that for everybody, then there's only one direction for this really to go, and that's where it is. It's we're either going up there, out there into space, or we're going in here. And they probably did both. They were probably capable of doing that, and they probably really cared about doing this.
In the time that we have left, what's your take on Akhenaten?
Oh man, dude. I think didn't we touch on this at Gaia too?
Yeah, we might have.
This is one of my favorite topics too, because like it makes everything make sense. He was trained as a pharaoh, like he was trained to be I think he was Moses. That's what I'm just gonna say. That. I think he was Moses. I haven't heard a credible argument that is really a good debate against this, because if you think about it, the whole story is he was trained to be a pharaoh. Didn't like how the priesthood was going, because it was the end of the age in zodiacal terms. It was the end of an age. A new age was coming, and there needed to be something new. And he was on the cusp of it, kind of like we are now, Age of Aquarius. Every one of us that's talking about this stuff is getting shit on, but the majority of people are like, hey, this kind of makes sense. I think that's where he was, and he got exiled, and that was when his images and stuff got torn down. And then that's how monotheism emerged. And I'm looking at the geometric and architectural similarities of that like continuum of knowledge. He seems to fit right into that spot where we don't really know a lot of stuff that was going on here. We don't know how this stuff got transmitted. You put the Templar stuff in, it kind of makes sense, but like there's that period there where it went from this flourishing civilization that's lasted 6,000 years into kind of, Bronze Age collapse, beginning of Dark Ages kind of a thing. And so I think it's an important key in history that needs to be looked at more. I'm curious why you asked the question, though. What do you think?
I like your take. Don't necessarily agree with it, but let me tell you why it's interesting. If we take the literal story of Moses from the Bible, right? Found on the Nile, floating, right? And rescued and was adopted. Well, Akhenaten, Amenhotep III, was the pharaoh at the time. Yeah. And Amenhotep IV, the future Akhenaten, the fourth, he is made co-pharaoh. So they're both pharaohing at the same time, right? For 5 years. But there's no mention of Amenhotep IV anywhere. He just appears. Okay. All of Amenhotep III's kids, we know who they are, what they did, what their gigs, we know a lot about them. But Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten, just appears. Now, if he was Moses, he would kind of fit that story, wouldn't he? The adopted son that just appeared out of nowhere and becomes pharaoh. That's interesting. Okay, I might steal it. I won't give you credit if I do.
I can't. It's not mine. I read there's a book on it. I don't know who read it. I can't remember right now, but there's a book on it. I looked at that, and that was like, again, it's one of the it's another lightsaber thing. I want it to be true, but like you know, there's just such an ambiguity in that area that it's like begging for a solution. And for me, that is the solution for now. It's better than the story that we get. But that whole line after that and during the collapse, you know, the Tutankhamun and his renaming, like after the fiasco, like that stuff kind of falls in line with what would happen like now if we were to try and like really drastically change the way, let's say, the government works. There would be people that are like, okay, this is a chaotic period. Yeah, it's a chaotic period. It was working before. Let's just go back to the way it was working, even though it was bad and it was corrupt and, you know, it was still working. Like that would be a process that would repeat itself today if we were to take that view and put it here. So it fits comfortably. That's the only reason why I'm more leaning towards that.
The other part of it is the backside of Akhenaten. So he ruled for 17 years, but there's no record of his death or Nefertiti. So, and Nefertiti, by the way, also appeared out of nowhere. And forget about the elongated heads, and they look freakish.
I'm talking about that.
But we can. That's the obvious stuff. But so he rules for 17 years and then disappears. There's no record of his death, his body, and the same thing with Nefertiti. So the both of them appear, and then they just disappear. Why? Right? And we're able to chase down DNA through all of not all, but a lot of the royal mummies, and we can match things up. But there's a big gap right there when it comes to Akhenaten. King Tut, right? The Tut is attributed to being the son of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, but we don't have any definitive proof of that.
Yeah.
And we don't have any DNA or anything else. That lineage right there, leading up to, that's a lot of controversy around that. I don't know. So maybe he was Moses.
Or maybe again, there's an even more radical route you could go to and say that he may not have been from here. Like that's why I also don't write that out. Yes.
I'm okay with ET.
I'm fine with that too. And if he just showed up again, that would kind of make sense. Like, okay, if you're guiding the growth of your child, you know, you send him to grade school, you send him to middle school, you send him to high school, whatever. Like, maybe it was time for Egypt to graduate into like, okay, we have segmented out nature into all these gods and these spirits and all this stuff, and we can describe it really well, similar to how we do with like the elements. Maybe they did that with like consciousness in that type of way. And a new model needed to emerge that unified everything into the one God, one thing, you know, that would last for another 6,000 years or however long. If they were intervening, maybe that's just them saying, hey, you got to go to high school now. You've been doing this stuff for a while. You're graduated, go into high school. And then he just kind of leaves, you know, like maybe it was intentional in a way where it's like, I don't want this lineage to be traced because it's going to be even sketchier if it does. So like,
yeah. I'm with you on that. That. And then if we combine all of this, because the data and the evidence, there's a lot there for Akhenaten during that period. We have a lot. We know where he lived and we understand a lot of things. But the other part of it is we have very solid depictions of him and Nefertiti and their kids.
Yeah.
And to have 2,000 or 3,000 years of art before him where everything was the same. All the artwork and all the temples, paint by numbers. Yeah, paint by number. Oh, for thousands of years, the same gods, the same things. Everything is just repeated. And then all of a sudden, him and Nefertiti come along and the exact opposite happens, where we have what I would say is probably a true depiction of how they actually looked, right? But the fate, the long, boobs, hips, things, the deform, the eyes, you know, all
It's
of it.
not a human. It's not what we look at it. If you see that thing in the Egyptian museum, his head, I'm like, the dude. You have to stare at it for a sec.
I took so many pictures and videos every time I've seen it.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 pretty big statues of Akhenaten, all the same, right?
Yeah.
But you look at, because you can go and see
All
Ramses,
the other ones look the
right,
same.
right. They're all
Exactly the same.
part. They're
Yeah.
Go to Abu Simbel, right, right. I
Mhm.
don't care. Go to Luxor, go and look. They all are the same. And then this Akhenaten thing, because I truly feel, this is my take, I don't think I'm wrong. If you're the sculptor, you are doing what you are told.
Precisely.
That's the friggin' pharaoh.
And
Right?
they
Right?
said it's in history. It's like, you want depict me as I am, not as the perfected form. So,
Right.
so this has to be, if we're going off of the mainstream, the most accurate version of a pharaoh ever sculpted. If that's the case,
Is Akhenaten.
yes, is Akhenaten.
Yes, is Akhenaten.
Yeah.
I don't, as uncomfortable as that is, it's in stone.
Yeah. You
It's
can't
it's
edit
not
that.
like right. We're not
can't
going
erase
off.
that.
No, it's right there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's it's a huge problem for me. Like, and that carving where they have the sun rays coming out with the ankhs and they're holding the kids and stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
You can't sit here and tell me that kid does not look exactly like the Paracas skulls from Peru. Those are the same dimensions, same stuff, exactly the same.
I'll go one step further. Alien versus Predator.
The fucking
That's what you're looking at.
That's exactly what
you're looking at, man.
You're looking at the tail.
Remember Sigourney Weaver, man, when that baby alien popped out? That's what they've got 5 of them on their laps.
Yeah.
You know, that's I'm okay with it. Oh man. When the other part of Akhenaten, because you just brought it up. When you look at those ceremonies that you're talking about, where the Aten is there,
yeah,
some will say, and it's too easy, that it's the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the sun. But beyond that, which I think is crazy, is they're not worshiping that. They're worshiping the rays, the energy. Now, how the concept of rays and energy like that being portrayed that way back then.
Yeah, granted, the same story. We're still climbing out of the like Stone Age here. Like, this is very recent humanity, and we know that rays come out of the sun with, like, there's a symbol coming out of the ray. It means something. You know, it's not like it's just, if it was just a sun ray, you can see that through the clouds. But there's an ankh on each one of them.
Yep.
They knew what it was.
Yep. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And that's why I
not conflict with anything. I don't think like 80% of people are like, yeah, it makes sense.
Well, see, that's why I need kids like you to keep adults like me in check. Why? Because my mind goes there, man. You know, and it's a relief to me that other people see it differently too, and want to apply their thought process to it. I've been following you for a while, man, and this is just the first time that you've been on Fade to Black, but we're going to have a lot of conversations in the future about this. But just thank you. Give my best to Lily.
I will.
And please, she's very special, by the way. She knows it. She knows it. Is she listening right now?
Yeah, I keep her locked away in the other room.
Okay. She knows. I hope she's smiling right now. She's absolutely amazing. But I look forward to that. How often do you put out content? And where's the best place for everybody to go and check out your work?
So Instagram gets most of it. It gets the vast majority. I'm going to be a lot more active on YouTube this year. Doing a lot more music stuff too. But YouTube is going to be huge. I want to do more long form like this. And so I like short form. I post 4 to 5 times a week. So you see a lot of me.
And so Instagram is the best spot.
Yep.
And it's BassForge US.
.us.
.us, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got that below. We've got it up in the chat. Tyler, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but I look forward to it, man. We're going to have fun.
Absolutely.
And I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
The best. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tyler Engel, everybody, BassForge. And again, we've got his links below. Instagram is where I watch all of his stuff. So head over there. And tonight is my Friday. All right. And I've earned it. Tonight's my Friday. So I am going to go and watch Formula One live from Japan. The practice is tonight. We have time trials tomorrow. I'm into that Formula One thing. So that's going to be a fun weekend for me. I've got a lot of work in front of me. I will see everybody right back here on Monday. But until then, all I've got. Oh, we didn't even talk about that tonight. We'll do it next time. Tyler, go back, Lee Tappy. Good night, everybody. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.